Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strompcast episode 216. Hope you're all doing very well. Obviously, we just played Young Boys, but before we get into that, let me introduce you to don't say my young boys, but my young co-host, I suppose.
Young, I'm
No.
older. I'm like the oldest one here, dude. I'm getting old. I'm an uncle.
Yeah, true, yeah, but you're young in spirit.
Sure.
We'll go with that anyway. But first, let me introduce you to Richard. How you doing today, man?
I am good. We welcome the new Sportingista into the world this week. I'm officially an uncle, so
Congratulations.
we're making sure to set that kid up for lifetimes of disappointment early. I'm good. Other than that, happy for that. The boys got a couple results. They got a big win against Moreirense. Did what they had to do. Just didn't lose today, which is all we asked for. So can't complain. We're into the round of 16, officially the second round of 16 for the Europa League. So fun times ahead, we hope.
We pray. Yes, indeed. And of course, we have Christian. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. Yeah, obviously things are going pretty well right now, I'd say. I honestly don't know how they managed to not win today, but
yeah,
I don't care. I mean, the game was kind of a joke. I was actually kind of getting pissed that he left Gyökeres out there he didn't play
as long as he did.
Time. Yeah, I was like, all right, what are you just asking for him to get hurt? Yeah, I mean, no complaints. Cruise control today. Into the round of 16. Excited for the draw tomorrow. Did what we had to do in the league on a tough road game. No complaints.
Yeah, most definitely. And I am also here as well, but you can also follow Danny because he is not here today. He is out doing things, but make sure to follow him anyway. But most importantly, follow all things Alvalade on all social media platforms and podcast platforms, wherever that may be. But before we get into anything else, let's start with the Young Boys fixture because that was the one that has happened less than 25 minutes ago. So we'll start with here. So it was a 1-1 draw, but we went through on aggregate anyway. Here is the team, of course. Adan in goal, Eduardo Quaresma, Diamonde, Ignacio, Mateus Reis, Braganza, Hulmand, Trincao, Edwards, and Gyökeres. Off the bench, Nuno Santos, Kova, Pedro Gonçalves, Luis Neto, and a returning Fresneda, also a returning Diamonde from a 2-month absence, even though he was in the AFCON. Only played the first 2 games, and that was it. So he's back. St. Jude's also on the bench, didn't have a cameo. The only player that's injured now, unfortunately, is Paulinho. But yeah, a 1-1 draw. Gyökeres scoring for us. A very good goal as well. And unfortunately, Young Boys getting a penalty from Edwards handball. Was a great penalty, though, to be fair. But Chris, I'll start with you. What are your overall thoughts on the game? You muted, Chris.
You're on mute, my guy.
Shit, bad start.
That's all good.
Yeah, I think we obviously could have won this game by a lot more. We had a lot of flagrant opportunities to score, I would say. The 3.3 XG on the more elevated side, but I'm honestly shocked it's not even a bit higher than that. Maybe I guess because, like, for example, like the chance that Paul had where he squared it to Gyökeres is like he technically didn't shoot, so maybe it's not like I don't know how they do the calculations for the XG, but could have had a bunch more. Only we're leading 1-0, conceded a PK. I mean, the thing about the Young Boys is they weren't really generating that much. They didn't even. You want to know how that they didn't even believe, because after the PK they didn't even try to grab the ball. They did not believe, even as they tied the game, they did not believe that they had it in them to score 2 more. It was cruise control, honestly. Gyökeres made a goal out of nothing, basically, pretty early as well. I think the last 2 games, I would say kind of similar script. A goal kind of randomly early. Obviously, the Moreirense goal was 2nd minute. This was probably the 15th, still very early. Get a good goal, go up 1-0, and then just kind of keep him at arm's length and just kind of coast home for 70 minutes, it felt like, in both games. I guess it's a bit disappointing to concede and not win this one, get all the points for the coefficient in the end, but I'm not going to complain. We advanced. That's what matters most. No one more was injured. Although you did mention the Paulinho injury, kind of concerning, especially since there's it seems like there's no timetable either. Seems like it could be kind of a bad of an injury.
Because it's his foot what's happened quite a few times before. So
yeah, it's something that's like reoccurring. It
could be like a month or two. I don't even know.
I think because he was injured, then he came back against Braga, came on for like 5 minutes, and then we haven't seen him since. So I don't know if maybe it's just
be training injuries.
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I'm assuming. It seems like it's something he probably just picked up in practice.
Or it might just be that he carries it most of the time, like Coates, for example, with his knee. Like he always has it, but maybe just flares up sometimes.
Yeah, it might just be something where it's a little aggravated, so he's got to kind of just take it slow for a week or two. Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, Richard, what were your overall thoughts on this game?
I'm not going to repeat too much of what Chris said. He kind of nailed it on the head. They could have won by several. There was a lot of chances. One of which, obviously, Jokeres missing the penalty. It was about time, so he is human.
Almost forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up.
I said to my grandfather before, is like, I feel like he's gonna miss one soon because he just tries to smash it.
He's due, right?
And he's probably due for a miss, and then literally 5 seconds later he missed. So fuck.
Yeah, it happens, right? He's gonna miss one of that, so it's your fault, is what you're saying. Missed penalty. They had a lot of chances. It was a kind of a typical sporting game. They did seem a bit like on autopilot, especially in the second half. They were just kind of coasting and not doing a whole heck of a lot. They knew they just needed to get out of there and not lose. And it showed. And like you said, young boys kind of knew it was Jover, even when they scored their penalty. Kind of a unfortunate, kind of silly penalty, but it is what it is. It's a good penalty kick, I will say that. Even after they make it 1-1, they look and it's like 2 goals right now. The way both teams have been playing, like just not going to happen. They just didn't celebrate, didn't run to get the ball, like you said, Chris. They knew it was done. Like there wasn't much really left for them to fight for. We're into the round of 16 now. We have some interesting teams we could pick up. We hope to avoid a couple of the Sharks. I know last year we got all the Sharks. After this phase, we got Arsenal and then Juve. To be fair, we took out Arsenal. We could have probably taken out Juve had we had a bit more luck on our side, but we'll see what happens. I was surprised he didn't rotate the squad as much as he did. I thought he was going to rotate the squad a bit more. Like I thought Jokeres was going to sit, but maybe because Paulinho was hurt, he figured just throw him in there. I was happy to see Edwards in there. I was not super surprised Potts sat. I thought this might have been a Franco Israel game, but we got the big lad Antonio Adan in net. Nobody really stood out to me this game. That's the thing. Like, it was kind of a nothing game because nothing really happened. Like it was nice to see Diomande get back and just kind of gets the minutes. Ignacio looked fine. Cal looked good. I thought Edwards in the handball actually looked good. Esgaio was Esgaio, so he was just bang average at best. Kodashma looked good again. Nothing to really say about the subs for the most part. The only player I think I was kind of disappointed in, and we kind of talked about this in a group chat, Sam, was Braganza. He just didn't seem with it today. I think it might be time. No, not. We're gonna crucify. It might be time to move on from him.
Last game or 2 games. I don't know if it was the last part of the pod before. We're like, but Braganza's kind of been having some bad performances lately.
Like the couple goals.
This was his worst one. Yeah, he got the start, and he was not.
He was not.
Yeah,
great.
It was the last Young Boys game we were talking about it. Yeah.
He has a goal or 2 recently, but like that's kind of masked what's been very much like a lot of letdown performances for the most.
He also could have scored multiple times and didn't.
Yeah,
him and many others, but
yeah, he's been a bit of a letdown. I know we always say like he's still coming back from an injury, but like he's also like 23, 24 now, like. I also just don't think he's super suited to the way the team plays and the way the system is now. Now, if they get a new coach in the offseason, who knows? They might play to a system that suits more to his strengths. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think the type of player he is, he doesn't necessarily fit how this team is set up right now. That's really it. Like he just doesn't fit the way the team is set up to play, and he doesn't fit the current system. That's not to say he's a bad player. It's just he's not what the team necessarily needs right now in midfield. If they move to a 3-man midfield, he probably would. I think he would actually shine in a 3-man midfield. But I think in a 2-man system, I just don't think that's his game. I just don't think that works for him.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, it was an eventful game, but it's not one that we need to like dissect because, you know, like you said, autopilot is a great word to describe this game because I feel like the result was done. Even I think young boys didn't really try too much either. They just sat back and, you know, were willing to let what happened. But I will mention some individual performances. Marcus Edwards' first half, man, that was awful. I love Marcus Edwards. His shirt is on the wall behind me, but
who's all on the wall of goats right now? You got Ronaldo, you got Edwards, Lietz,
Paulinho, and then I've got Messi on that side, which you can't really see.
That's a messy wall of goats, I'll tell you that.
Nice, I like it. But yeah, Edwards was just in the first half was just awful. The open goal miss just summed up his half perfectly. I thought that literally was it. He was just nothing was coming off. The creativity was there, but the product wasn't. So like I like his ideas, but they just never came off. And I thought Trincao was a lot better on the wing. But yeah, the second half Edwards improved, but then he gave away the penalty, and it's just like it just sums up his game. But he did put Trincao through for the penalty, so I will give him some credit. I thought he had a much better second half than the first, but it still wasn't a great performance. And you mentioned Bragança. Yeah, man. I love Bragança. I think we all like Bragança.
I'm a big fan of his. I just don't know if he suits his team anymore. I don't know if we can find a role for him that suits his play style.
Yeah, and I think for his career, he's got to look somewhere else. I just don't think, unless he's fine with, you know, coming off the bench or something, but I think, you know, I just don't see it. And then the last player I want to talk about negatively is Adan. Because even though the penalty wasn't his fault, and like that's fine. So some moments in this game where like the ball comes at him and he tries to catch it, he drops it. He does technically concede, even though it's a foul, but like he's sort of late to try and get the ball because he hesitates to come out, and the guy does foul him. But Adan also sort of punches him in the face as well. So it's like a sort of 50-50, and Adan just completely he's on the floor. They shoot and it goes in. Like obviously it's a foul, but you know it's just. He's got 3 more games to get an automatic renewal.
Which we only found out this week, by the way. That just came out like 2 days ago or something. Wild.
Yeah, 2 days ago. And it's just, he just does not inspire confidence in any of the players.
The ones that are the scariest for me is like when he's like waiting for a cross and you can like see a defender coming across like to almost like get there in front of him.
Yeah.
And like they almost get, like it happened twice in this game. It happened a couple times against Moreirense. Like, we will concede a goal in the next 3 games on that exact type of cross.
Yeah, off of silliness from a cross. I think you're absolutely right.
Where
it's early. It's going to be an early Patricio
and then he's beat into the ball by the attacker.
Yeah, it's going to be an early Patricio flashback when Patricio was the starter. It's just going to be like calamity from a cross because he doesn't know how to field it.
And it's also at the point in the season where we can't really rotate with Israel, give Israel a chance because we've got Benfica next week in the Taça de Portugal. Of course, we've got another Europa League fixture, and then it's the tail end season. We still got to play Porto,
Benfica. They got a hellscape of games coming up in the next like couple months.
Yeah, unless you do play him in the Taça, because maybe Benfica play their backup in the Taça as well, like a cup goalkeeper. But I think I
could see in the first leg, but if it's close going in the second leg, like no shot are they playing backups, right? Like you're playing your best team if it's like a 1-goal game.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of positives for this performance, I think Gyökeres, of course, even though he missed the penalty, he was still fantastic at carrying the ball, very physical, unlucky to not score probably 4 or 5 because he had a lot of chances. Wasn't as clinical today, but I do think their keeper made some great saves. And their defense at one point, I think it was Nuno Santos plays him through and it's literally just an open tap in and the defender stretches his whole leg to try and get the ball, and he does. And it was a great block at there. But for me, Gyökeres was great. Trincao was good as well. I thought Trincao was a lot. He's just been really good. Even though he didn't get the goal today, really good on the ball. Great. Even defensively today, I thought he was great. And then finally, the back 3, Inacio, Dimonde, and Quaresma, I thought were brilliant today. Diamonde, especially from not playing for like a month and a half or however long it's been, came in, looked exactly the same. Inacio only played 45 minutes, but he's Inacio at this point. He's always going to have a good game. And then Quaresma, again, he just continues to have game after game where it's like, okay, the purple patch is going to end soon. And then he has another good game, another good game, another good game. So I don't know if it's going to be a purple patch or if he is just a good player.
If that form is there to stay, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You hope it's the latter. You hope it is there to stay and that there's a player there.
Yeah, and then the only question is what happens to the defense, because obviously Coates is on the bench in this game. St. Just is on the bench in this game. That's, two very good centre backs who could, to be fair, you could do any combination of those five, and it'd still be a good defensive unit. But I would imagine someone in this back three is probably going to be dropped. You'd imagine for Coates, unless we're proper phasing Coates out and he leaves in the summer. But I like this back three. If it was up to me, I would probably pick this back three. Maybe in rotation with Coates being the first man off the bench. But I don't know if Amorim sees it that way, that we need a leader in there. Because although Adan is our captain, maybe I'm just a bit old school, but I prefer a captain being outfield, being able to control the game itself, like a defender or a midfielder, instead of a goalkeeper who has to sit back all the time. But other than that, yeah, good performance. I like Cobra off the bench. I thought he had a good cameo, but, he's just a bit... Off the ball is not great, but
he's good on the ball. Off the ball, he's very raw still. He's still
very good technically, but not great anywhere else in terms of off ball and running and sprinting and everything like that. And it was also good to see Fresneda. He played about 7-8 minutes, but he still probably did more in this game in 8 minutes than Esgaio did in the full 90, which is saying something. I did put a message in our group chat earlier. It was like Esgaio did like 2 great tackles, and the bar is so low that every time he does it, the crowd loses their
ballistic. Yes. Go nuts. It's like he didn't screw up this time. Let's go. That's literally what it feels like.
Actually, the last thing I'm going to say is Mateus Reis. All I noticed from this game is we'd be on an attack, or we'd be on the counter, or we'd be in transition, and he'd always passes backwards or sideways. He never goes straight. It's always backwards.
He took the Esgaio route of attacking today. It was all lateral and back passes. There was no forward progression passes from him today.
Yeah, and there was one point you can see my mouse. We had the ball around here, like from a corner, and instead of passing it to either back to the corner or crossing it in the box, he passed it all the way back to.
Passed it back to midfield, basically.
I was just like, why? It's just, I don't know. I have no idea. But Mateus Reis is such an odd footballer because he's an enigma. As a centre back, I think he's all right, but as a left back, he's not good at crossing. He's not the best passer with the ball. He's not the quickest. He's not the strongest. I don't know. But anyway, I'll ask you, Richard, who was your man of the match for this game?
I got to pick a man of the match. I'll pick Joe Carey just because he got the goal. I know he missed a pen, but I'll give it to him anyways. It's the easiest choice.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what about you for the man of the match? You're muted, Chris.
It's kind of tough. Yeah, I guess I'll have to go Jokeres. He was constantly dangerous. Could have had a hat trick. Scored a nice goal. No one else stood out enough, I feel like, to challenge that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's between Jokeres and Trincao for me, but I think Jokeres gets it for me. Just, very good today.
It's the hat trick Jokeres wishes he had today.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, easy. Well, not a win, but easy progression, I think, and was never in doubt. And a very good two-legged tie, I would say. But
a good draw, a good performance over 2 games overall. There's not much to really complain about.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads us to the potential draw that we will be getting tomorrow, I believe, at 12 p.m. my time, maybe 1 p.m. my time. So whatever time that is for you, probably like 9.
So here's who we can get. So we have West Ham and Brighton. We have a lot of 4 British teams. So West Ham, Brighton, Rangers, who we have a bit of history with. Atlanta, who we have some recent history with. Villarreal, Slavia Prague. And
they knocked us out of the Europa League in 2018, Villarreal.
Villarreal did, and I remember Rangers ruined our UEFA Cup.
Pathetic. I don't know how we didn't advance out of that tie.
That was shambolic.
I thought it was Atletico Madrid in 2018.
No, it was 2019 then, maybe.
2019 Atletico.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
2019 was post-Alcochete. And I always remember Rangers because they beat us in 2008. And when it was still the UEFA Cup, and we had a fun team that year. We should have progressed. Who do we want to? I don't want to say who we want to get because that's not. Who do we?
Did we play
wanna
Slavia
avoid?
Prague in 2018?
I don't think we played Slavia Prague.
Remember we lost in extra time, but we still went through.
I think that was a Polish team. Because was that when like Montero? Was it Montero scoring? Like
Was it a
the
Montero
like he
game,
scored
maybe?
to
Like, an
still
away goal.
lose, but lose by
But
less.
we
and
got lost
like
the game, but we
3-2.
won the tie because with the first leg.
We lost the game, but won on away goals.
Yes, away goals was still a thing. That's right.
It might not have been Slavia Prague. It was a Central European team. Similar.
It was from around
though.
those ends. Let us know in the comments if you know who it is. Well, we might research that after. For me, the only teams I kind of want to avoid is Bayer Leverkusen for obvious reasons. They are just demolishing teams.
It was Victoria Plzen, I think.
Yeah,
Victoria Plzen. That's who it was. So
Yeah.
I think a Czech team still.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bayer Leverkusen I'd like to avoid. And honestly, Liverpool I'd like to avoid. I think any of the other teams I'd very much fancy our chances. I know we lost to Atlanta one game this year, but like it was a game we really deserved to at least draw. So I think we play them. I think West Ham and Brighton would be one of the trickier away days. But I think we match up well with them and Brighton and I think we match up well with everybody except for Leverkusen and Liverpool. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, for me, I think we're at the point. It's not to sound. This is going to sound arrogant. It's going to come out wrong, but I think I look at this list and I think we could win these games. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy tie. Don't get me wrong.
No. There's no easy tie out of this.
No, exactly. But we beat Arsenal last year. We beat Tottenham last year. We beat Frankfurt last year, and that was our worst season in 5 years. Even in our when we first came back to the Champions League after Ruben Amorim came in. We beat teams like Besiktas, and we did beat Borussia Dortmund, who had Bellingham and Haaland at that time. But I just think with the team we have, I don't think we have the best team in the world or anything like that. But like last year, like you said, we could have beaten Juventus and we could have gone further. And now we have players like Gyökeres and Hjulmand, who we didn't have before, and Fresneda's coming back from injury. We've pretty much got a full-strength squad. If you're asking me who I think we would do the best in, I think West Ham's form at the moment is good enough that we could make them pay. And there's rumors about David Moyes being sacked and things like that. They just lost 6-0 to Arsenal 2 weeks ago, and I think they lost to Nottingham Forest this week as well. Brighton, I think, are a good team. Rangers, I think we could. I'm not going to say easily win, but I think
they're a tricky team. They've had some good runs in Europe the last couple of years, especially in Europa League the last couple seasons. So they're a pain in the ass team for sure. Yeah, I think Villarreal is a sleeper team too for us to get because I think they've looked not good this season at all. So if you want a team that's not in great form, that's another one to kind of maybe keep an eye out on.
But yeah, also for me, Atlanta, I would like that revenge game because I feel like we could again. I think on any given day we could beat any one of these teams. Obviously, Liverpool, I think, is the stand. I would not want Liverpool. They're a very good team, very well organised. And I think this is being set up to, Klopp's last title is going to be the Europa League before he goes. I think that's the storyline going into the Europa League right now. But like I said, to win this competition, we're going to have to beat the big teams eventually. So if they give us Liverpool, we'll handle it, I think. And, we'll have to wait and see. Chris, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that I think you could argue probably Liverpool and Bayern are two of the best teams in Europe right now. Especially Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, they've been unreal.
Not even just the results, but how they've played as well. I've only seen 2 of their games this season, but
I've watched a few. Yeah. They're a fun team to watch. They're very entertaining.
So yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to catch them, but I mean, yeah, like Sam said, you'll probably have to play them eventually. At least one or two of them, possibly even both. If you're gonna go all the way to Dublin. So yeah, I mean, West Ham is a bit worse than they were last year, I would say, and Brighton probably is too. or about the same. I feel like their
Mm.
form has been sporadic. It's a little bit better now.
West Ham have been poor, and they've got a lot of injuries to key players, which is also good if we were to get them as well.
Yeah, so I mean, 6 out of 8 of these, like I really, I'm not fearful, and I'm not exactly fearful of Liverpool or Bayer Leverkusen either, because yeah, like Sam said, I think we can beat them in the right circumstances, but we have a lot of tough games coming up. It would just really, really complicate things even more than they already are. But I mean, it'll be a tough tie. The calendar's gonna be congested no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'm less worried than I am about other draws in the past where I've been like, okay, like we really have to if we get any of these.
There's like out of 8 teams, there's like 6 killers as opposed to like here there's really like maybe
I
one
think
or
Young
two.
Boys is probably one of the best draws we could have got in the last round. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll get.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, you could say like Slavia Prague is probably the consensus easiest one. So maybe we'll get like the consensus easiest one, because I think Young Boys was the consensus easiest one last time, and we ended up
Close
with them.
to
So
it.
we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I almost wouldn't mind playing Liverpool, because I'd like to see us match up with a team like that right now. But you know, whatever. I'm not too worried. I'll wake up. Actually, they've been doing the draws a little bit later now. They used to be at like 7 a.m. Eastern time. I think they're a bit later now.
8 a.m. Eastern time now.
So I was like, wake up.
Work.
I would wake up and it would already be done. But
Yeah.
now it's like I'm up for a couple hours and then it happens. So yeah, I'm excited to see who it is, but I'm also not, that worried.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the current second leg. So obviously we need to beat someone in round 16 for all of these teams to be eligible to be drawn. For example, Karabag obviously beat Braga today. Milan have gone through. Freiburg have gone through. Benfica went through. Marseille went through. Roma in the final are on penalties currently. Sparta Prague went through. So if we beat one of these teams, it could be one of them we match up against. Obviously, it could be still someone in this list in the next round. Yeah.
That'd be like what, 8 derbies in a season? Because we had the friggin' we'd have the standard 2, we'd have 2 in the Tasa. So
it could be like 2011. Was it 2011?
It was 2011 or 2012. All the El Clasicos. They played each other in like a cup final. They played each other in Champions League.
No, I was talking about the Europa League final. It was like Braga versus Porto. I think that's 2011.
That's 2011. That was
in Dublin, if I'm not mistaken.
In Dublin, and it was 3 of the 4 semifinalists were Portuguese. It was Benfica, Braga was one semifinal, and Porto, and not a Portuguese team. I can't remember their names now. In the other semifinal, so we were guaranteed at least like one Portuguese team in the semifinal, regardless that year.
Yeah,
I remember that was like that 2 or 3 year span where Portuguese teams all went on like stupid runs in Europa. And had like one or two
to like video time. Like,
yeah. Well, then we had the next year we had the famous run to the semis where we lost to Bilbao, I believe, right? So there's a cup that was like a 2 or 3 year period where all the Portuguese teams went sicko mode in Europe. And like we boosted the coefficient like crazy for a time being.
Yeah, definitely. But on from Europa League talk to back to the league. And that is the game against Moreirense. A very strange game, I think, but still a win 2-0 I will take. Before we get into the actual conversation, let's take a look at the lineups. Adan in goal, Quaresma, Coates, Inacio, Nuno Santos, Jenny, Hillman, Morita, Pedro Gonzalez, Trincao, and Gyökeres. Off the bench came Mateus Reis, Edwards, and Bragança. Goals from Morita, which is the strange goal, and Pedro Gonzalez. An assist from Trincao. Richard, what are your overall thoughts on this game?
Like kind of a strange game. Like it wasn't. We had 2.5 xG. Like even I think that's kind of like generous. I mean, we scored 2, so fair. But yeah, like a really bizarro goal to start. Off a corner kick. It just was bounced around the box and then eventually ended up in the net thanks to Morita. Happy to see him get a goal at least coming back from the Asian Cup. So good for him. It was kind of weird. Like I want to say the team seemed disjointed, but it almost looked like there wasn't a sense of urgency. Like they got the goal early, and there wasn't really a sense to like keep pressing at times. There's not much to really say. I was happy to see Pot get on the score sheet. Gyökeres probably could have had 1 or 2, but like I think the scoreline was almost pretty fair for the most part. Like I think anything more than 3-0, it would have seemed like would have been surprising the way they played. Moreirense kind of just sat back and was happy to defend. There wasn't they didn't do a whole heck of a lot. They had like one or two. They had like one chance, I think. That was it. That I can remember. That was it. They didn't do anything. No one really stood out. I'm like crazy other than the goal scorers and Jokeras. Actually no, Trincao was okay. I thought he looked good. Jenny was fine. Kudajma looked again like himself, looked good for him. Hillman was kind of bang average. He didn't do anything bad, but he didn't really stand out in the midfield. And Ignacio and Kawach kind of just held down the back line. Like anytime they kind of got close to some semblance of attack, we shut them down like so quick. Like they almost couldn't get past half at times. But we didn't really do, like I said, we didn't really do much. Like it was just kind of a weird game. Like not much was really happening. We got a couple goals and we just kind of like today, almost just like on autopilot again, in a sense. But yeah, there's not much to really say about this. I'm sure someone will add better insights than I. I'll pass it off to Chris now. You're on mute, by the way, Chris, before you say anything.
I actually knew that time.
Got your ass.
Yeah, I mean, we locked their asses up. I mean,
Yeah.
they couldn't create much of anything.
They could barely get past half.
They couldn't really do anything. Obviously, very fortunate. I honestly thought at first that the ball hit Marita's hand on the first goal and that it was about to get disallowed. But yeah, that was a pretty crazy incident in the second minute that really, I guess, set the pace or set the tone for the rest of the game. The second goal came about like 20th-ish minute.
Yeah.
It wasn't too far after. They say the 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead. If Moreirense could have scored, maybe it could have got more interesting.
They didn't do
but
shit.
They just were
incapable. Thing.
The second half was cruise control, very similar to this young boys game, where it was just kind of cruise control the whole time. Never really was in fear. Obviously, they like pushed harder the last 5-10 minutes, but I wasn't particularly worried. I thought this actually would end up being a more difficult game than it ended up being. I've seen them give the other two title contenders difficult games in this field at home for them. So I was like, yeah, I mean, they're in 6th. They're having a good season.
We expected a very difficult
game. It's a tough road game, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've had tougher games recently. So I guess it's a bit disappointing from the Moreirense game, but
we'll take it.
Debuted the new €9 black kits, and we're 1-0.
That's €90 black kits. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much because, it wasn't really a memorable game. The only thing that I really recall is that I thought Coates was outstanding. I thought he was really good, and I think he has been really good all season. He's been played limited minutes, but I think every time he's played, he's been really good. And it's sort of been like a comeback year for him because I didn't think he was great last year, but I think he's done really well now. I can remember Gonzalo Inacio getting like beaten up this game. He was on the floor for like the majority of the game because the Moreirense players would not stop attacking him. Kicked. He was. But yeah, other than that, I really don't have anything else. Standard win, Trincao, another good performance. The only other thing I remember is Jenny doing a foul throw because the ball hit his head when he tried to throw it.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's really it. I thought, Trincao was good. Jokeres didn't score, but he still, even when he doesn't score, he still plays very well. A great goal for Pedro Gonçalves to Morita's goal. Yeah, it was strange. I thought with Chris, either he fouled the defender or he handballed.
I thought it was
none of the two.
I thought it was coming back until we saw like the second replay, like the second angle. I'm like, oh, like this might be fine. It's like nothing really happens. It's just kind of sloppy from everybody.
Yeah, the only thing about this game which I was quite annoyed me was that all these subs that he brought on were like 5-10 minutes to the end.
Yeah, this game was peak garbage. It was peak garbage time minutes, like.
Yeah, and like I think at this stage of the season, we're in February. The schedule is only going to get busier. Yeah. This would have been a perfect time. Okay, maybe not a Jokeres, but like a Hillman or a Pedro Gonçalves or a centre back to come off. Ignacio has played loads of minutes this year. Someone who's played a lot of minutes just to rest. So I don't think this game was ever in doubt. And the same with the Young Boys one. Like we saw Neto come on, but like for me, that's a great game to bring Pontello on. Or, give St. Just some minutes, or if St. Just isn't fit yet, Pontello. But yeah, Gyökeres playing the full 90, like Chris said. Like he's played pretty much every single minute this year, bar maybe like
a few,
like maybe two or three games, maybe 4 at a push. But yeah, for me, I just think some rest is needed, and it should be in games like this that have done. But you know, at the end of the day, we still won. No one got injured, so you know, seems to be good. But Richard, who was your man of the match for this game?
I'll give it to Pot because he got a nice goal. And he played pretty well all around. Yeah, I'll give it to him. He's been playing pretty well recently. I haven't given one to Pot in a while.
Yeah, I'll give mine to Coates. Chris, who are you going to give yours to?
I'm going to go with Pot.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But yes, that is that for the Moreirense game. Before we get into some news and some little tidbits we've got, let's take a look at the league predictions. Of course, there were 2 games this week.
Someone's running away with it, by the way.
If we take a look at Moreirense, Richard with the big 4 points, getting 2, got the win, the result, and one of the goal scorers. Yeah. I got the win, but I did not get any of the goal scorers, unfortunately. Chris got the win, but no goal scorers. Danny got 1 goal scorer and the win as well. But before we take a look at the leaderboard, let's go to Europa League, which is
Europa League right? Today. No one got the win. We all got a point for a goal scorer.
Yeah. So yeah,
we were close. Chris and I were close to. We're the closest ones to the actual result, though.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's true. And then if we go all the way to the top, we can have a look at who is running away with it, and that is Richard on 64 points. Chris in second with 55. I'm in third with 51. And Danny in last, but not far behind me, with 49. With the next games coming up, which telling
you boys, you gotta make sure you're in here week after week. You gotta grind like I have. You're giving away 3 points.
So the next game we have is against Rio Ave, and then we also play Benfica in the Taça de Portugal. I want to say on Wednesday. But yes, so we got those 2 games.
Thursday.
So yeah,
29.
We'll have post game.
We'll have post game for that for the first leg.
Yeah. But that is it for league predictions. But there is also the fantasy football, which
I didn't check this week. I think I had a dog. I had a dog shit week this week. To be fair, yeah, I got fucking. Oh, I caught up a bit on Chris, but Danny fucking going sicko mode.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I got 7 points back on Claude, 7 points back on you, Chris, but like Danny went ballistic this week.
Danny needs to be stopped.
He can't keep getting away with this.
The 1 week Gyökeres don't score for me, but Rafa did.
For everybody, yeah.
Costa left Bands on the bench.
Bands on the bench. I think I left Bands on the bench too, if it makes you feel okay.
But yeah, let's go to Richard and we can have a look at yours.
Yeah, I left those big points on the bench as well. Dominguez letting me down in midfield. Brutal.
You've got yourself in goal, I see.
Yeah. I saw your tweet this week. I was like, what the hell's he at me for? Yeah, I left the Bonza points on the bench this week, and that's what really killed me. If I could have taken out literally any of the boys who got like 2 or 3 points, that would have been huge. I just forgot to sub him in. It was just lack of foresight on my part. I could have gained another like 9 points on Chris on top of the 7 I gained on him.
And for Chris, top performers Rafa, Inacio, Del Costa, Gyökeres, and then off the bench. Nothing off the bench.
Nothing on the bench. He basically got the max. It was me who dropped the ball. He got the max points. Really, I didn't.
10th in the US as well, Chris. Gonna try and hit single digits, hopefully. So on to 9. And then last but not least, Danny running away with it. Still second in Canada though. So
he's back up. He was down to 4th last week, I think.
Oh yeah. I
think he clawed a couple spots back, if I'm not mistaken. Now
Sunday scores in like every game, bro.
I know.
Apart from the ones I sub him in for.
Yeah, really. The one game I subbed him out for was the game against us. So I'm like, I should have kept him in because he
still scored in that one. Yeah,
he still scored and we won. I'm like, damn it, I should have just left him in anyways and hope that we got the win, which we did. So that was on me.
Yeah, and then Gyökeres, Banza, Pedro Gonçalves, Rafa, João Mário with 17. Diego Costa
Only
with 7.
one who let him
with
down in the
6.
starting lineup is Fujimoto, and he left like no points on his bench. He still has to change his goalie because his goalie doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
His backup, I
But,
should say.
yeah, very good performance from Danny this week. To be honest, I know still it's quite a long way of football to go, but I think he's probably got that top spot locked. Unless Chris, I think Richard, for me and you, it's over for first place. But
I think it's Jover for first place. I've been trying to claw away at Chris, and every time I make some progress, I have a week where I just forget to do something, and it just 3 weeks of progress gets undone. So yeah, I think this might be the table. This might be Jover at this point.
Yeah.
Unless somebody has like 3 monster fucking weeks in a row and is not named Danny Saldana, I think it's Jover. Unless somebody goes sicko mode in the next month, I think it's pretty well set.
But yeah, we do have some news we alluded to earlier, and that is Dan playing 4 more matches, now 3. He will get a automatic contract renewal. That's from Ojogo, although Record and Ebola don't have confirmed it. But it would make sense, even though
it would check out.
Was it last year they did that weird announcement where like Dan did like the shush and like nothing ever came of it? Like,
oh yeah,
I forgot about that.
I don't know if that was this year or last year. I think
I don't know. That's such a blur.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's such a blur. Like, I don't know. You could put a gun to my head. I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be able to help you out with that one.
But yeah, it's just the unanimous like replies on this were just like, oh no.
No!
What have I done to deserve this? Everything like that. But I think
flashbacks, like,
yeah, I do think they should. Surely they have to look at a new goalkeeper for next season. Like, it's just got to be. Maybe you give Israel like a loan for like a promoted team or like a second division team or maybe abroad, and then give it down the backup role and then sign a new keeper. But I just don't know, man.
I'm almost on my knees for him to get like the guy from Gil Vicente or like the guy from Famalicão. Like, one of those
for me, guys. I would from the league, those two, and also Arabuena from Aroca as well is a very, very good goalkeeper as well. But when I look at it, I look at all the goalkeepers I see in the Portuguese league. Adan is not probably top 10. I look at like with guys we just mentioned.
Not top 10.
Obviously, Diogo Costa and Trubin 1 and 2. You've got Andrew Arabuena, Luis Junior from Famalicão. You've got Bruno Varela. I would say is better.
Bruno Varela's been okay.
Adan. Let's just see. Go through the
table.
I'd
take Bruno Varela at this point over Adan. That's a.
He's not better than Ricardo Velho.
No, he's not better than old Richard there.
Is he better than Mateus at the moment, the Braga keeper? I think that one could be a debate because
that's shite.
They're both not.
They're both past it. That's what they are. They're both past it.
But the difference is Mateus is like 6 years.
Yeah, younger. At least he's
bigger. He's way younger than Adan. So like, if you're already past like 29 or something, like yikes.
But if you look at Porto, they have obviously Diogo Costa. They have Samuel Portugal, who is also was very good like before he joined, and then Claudio Ramos, who was also very good before he joined. I'd probably say all 3 of those are better.
All 3 of Porto's keepers, backups, and all I would take any one of them as our starter at this point.
Yeah,
good problem for them to have. Like, fair enough.
It's just strange. It doesn't make sense.
Weird.
But I guess we have to let the one play out and see what happens in the off season. But we still have a lot more games that he could cost us goals. But at the same time, he does have one performance in him. Against Arsenal last year was probably his best game in the shirt, I would say. So he does have a good performance now and then. And to be fair, until he conceded against the young boys last week, he was okay. He wasn't conceding. He was still making some sort of errors with catching, and
he wasn't doing anything overly like stupid though to cost us a game. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. So maybe we've turned a corner, but I'll tell you who hasn't turned a corner, and that is Nike with their awful kit design. And to be fair, I think this got a lot of mixed reviews. People were just saying they liked it because it's plain, and like I understand like the plainness of it, but that is a training kit if I've ever seen one. It looks almost identical.
I don't really know why they released it.
Yeah, it just seemed
they already had a black kit.
They would go for like a Stromp or something at this stage of the season.
Yeah, we didn't get a Stromp this year, right? First time ever, I think.
I think they still sell the one from like 3 years ago, but I don't. They've not used
we just recycled that one for the
I
last.
don't know if they even
2
used it
years.
last year. I
They
know they
used
used
it
it.
once or
couple
twice
times.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just-
Nike's only made one Strom kit in 3 years.
Yeah, they recycled it for. They used it for 2 years.
The
but
one
just
with the
haven't used
slightly
it.
uneven.
The one
line
with the
down the
weird.
center.
Yeah, it's like 5 centimeters off center, and it drives me nuts as a kit guy. I hate that.
but a lot of
Yeah,
people were expecting a blackout
Nike's
kit.
divesting from football. To be fair, too, as Jack's pointing out, like they've divested a lot from football the last year. Like they've lost the Portugal kits, like the national team. We're switching to Puma. There's a few teams they're choosing not to renew with, and they're very
Yeah.
much cutting back. And Puma's kind of picking up the Puma, and to a somewhat lesser extent, like Adidas, are picking up most of those pieces. Though you're seeing Reebok starting to make a bit of a comeback, so who knows?
Yeah. But I think what more people were annoyed about is that the way they marketed it, everyone thought it was going to be like a blackout kit, like the Dortmund one a few years ago.
Yeah,
It was
well,
a
and
bit
we saw a
more-
concept of it that looked sick, right? And I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah,
kind of cool looking.
It was just this kit with the black badge and then the black sponsor, which
Yeah,
to
it
be
was
fair
like
is
an off black.
still the printed kit, like the €9 printed kit. But at least there's some originality. It's not something we've seen
It's more
before.
custom than this.
There is
Yeah.
literally nothing on this kit.
No.
There's
No.
not even a design. There's
There's
like a
no
line.
pattern that you
There
can
is
see
nothing
anywhere
on this kit. There's
No, it's just a
nothing.
plain black T-shirt,
Yeah.
for lack of a
But-
better term, with a fucking Nike
That they
logo.
stamped the Betano, and then they stamped that shirt came shipped with just that swoosh on it, and then they stamped
and
it.
then we stamped our shit on it. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
This is the
But-
last
yeah.
year of our Nike contract too, by the way. So
Impressive markup though. What, €9 to 90?
Oh, I
To
10,000.
be fair, normal teamwear kits are like 30. So like 30 to 90 is the normal ratio. Maybe 45 to 90 if it's a nicer kit.
Yeah.
Like our template for our home kit, for example, that's like 45
Yeah,
without anything, just plain. But 9 to 90, I mean,
that's
respect.
crazy. That's respect
Respect.
the hustle. I respect the grind.
Respect, lads.
Yeah.
I got nothing but respect for
This
just
is yeah.
fleecing.
This is the last year of the Nike deal, unless they decide to re-up.
Rumors that it's going to be renewed, but yeah,
yeah,
I haven't
it
heard
wouldn't
anything in a
shock
couple
me one
months.
way.
But
It wouldn't shock me one way or the other if they renewed or not. The only thing that makes me think they will renew is because of the CR7 kit. So they might want to do that. They might want to keep some of that momentum, but it might be entirely up to Nike. They might switch to someone else. If they switch someone else, I'm
CR7's club is going to Adidas and his national team's going to Puma.
Puma. So who knows, right?
And speaking of Ronaldo kit, I know Chris Financial is more of your sort of
Yeah,
forte
this is
here.
your domain. You're gonna have to explain this like we're
I mean,
fine.
nothing that there's nothing in here that we didn't already know. I would say we knew that they became owners of 88% of the SAD. We knew that the assets owned increased because they repurchased the VMOX, right? That's related to that. The merchandising is interesting. I'd be interested to see how much of so it was like 5.3 to 9.2 million. Do you think that difference is just basically the CR7 kit?
I think it's also just the team doing
Yeah,
well this season
at least
too has a bit.
maybe 2/3 of that difference is the CR7 kit.
Yeah, I think some of it you can. I think a good chunk of that you can at least.
The
attribute to the fact
one
that
thing
team's
I'm
good.
not so sure about is if the 9.2 million is the total gross amount, or is
Or the
that
profit.
what we've taken home? Because I know that you only take home but here's the thing: not all the sales in the Loge Vert are Nike, right? There's the in-house stuff.
Yeah.
There's
And also, something interesting about the CR7 kit, it's the only sporting kit you can get directly from the Nike store in the UK. So I could order it, pay like a normal price, and get it shipped without any.
Sporting is going to get
fees.
probably like a 10% cut of that, most likely.
Yeah, give or take a few percent.
So yeah, I'm guessing that's the total amount. And Sporting is probably taking home less than that.
That's the gross, yeah.
Because there's no way that that's 8x, and our take home's 9 because the total was 70 or something. There's just no way, right? So
No shot. No.
9's got to be the total. So Sporting obviously didn't take home all the 9 then, but
it's money that came in.
It's the most the shop's ever made. And that's basically been the case since the switch to Nike, I would say.
Yeah, every year they kind of
it coincided with winning the title, switching to Nike, and the sales jumped a lot. So I guess we should expect to be in this range of like 5 to 10 million every year now.
Give or take, yeah.
And then, the main result is obviously bolstered heavily by player sales. Player sales keep this operation going. That's always been the case.
That way. It's going to be that way for the foreseeable future.
In the foreseeable future, that's just how it works. But like we started to get like more for our players now, I would say, than we did not so long ago.
Yeah.
Not only was it the most that we've ever made in a single window. Also, this is the reason that they wait until after June 30th to finalize all their sales, so that they show up on this report, right? Because if they're done in June 3rd, then they're on the previous one, right? So you want them all on the same one so that you can kind of pad the stats. And to be fair, why not, right? Why not? So you're like Poro got sold so long ago,
but they had the 7 million for the initial loan.
Yeah, they were the loan, and then they got finalized after June 30th. Same with Ugarte. They didn't sell, and they waited. I mean, the deal was done on like June 23rd, but they didn't make it official.
Yeah, the deal was done. The deal was done well before the transfer deadline, but it wasn't officially announced until July.
So yeah, I mean, there's a reason. Trimiti looking like a nice sale. Tomas Vega. I mean, they kind of padded it, but it's the most.
They're big sales regardless.
I think the most successful transfer window before this was the summer that they offloaded Rafinha, Bruno Fernandes, everybody, like that first Fernandes summer window when they just kind of scrapped the squad as it was.
Most of the team.
That was like 120 million, and I believe this was like 130. So
yeah, the Bruno one also wasn't until the winter window as well.
It also should be noted this is the most they've ever spent in one window as well.
Yes,
65 million. So,
yeah. But to be fair, the majority of those players that are bought in, maybe Fresnel is the question mark, but I think you're buying for potential.
Two of the three look great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gyökeres is obviously, I'll say Gyökeres and Hjulmand are both doubled, if not maybe Gyökeres tripled in investment.
You're gonna make stupid profit on those guys. You're making that money back and then some in stupid amounts.
Yeah. So yeah, overall,
I mean, it's a good semester. I believe is the official term. It's a good financial semester.
Yeah.
It's well planned.
A lot of people were critical on.
You could obviously say that it's not sustainable without the player sales. If you take away the player sales. And you just look at everything else.
But that's also the model of Portugal right now. That's what every Portuguese team has to do until we.
It's not really just Portugal. If you look at every other team,
it's most of the smaller,
the big boys,
most of the medium to smaller leagues. That's kind of how they get by. We're not modernized in that sense, right?
Well, not even like, for example, like Bundesliga or Spanish teams. If you're not one of the big like 4 or even the big 3,
you kind of have to sell still. Yeah, at least to an extent.
Yeah, unless you have
that's always been the model. Because I saw a lot of people being like super critical of that. I'm like, but that's always been the model. Like
yeah,
I don't know. It's like our administration, but like there's nothing here that I'm like upset about really.
No, they've done well, and I think
they've done well. I feel like it's just people that wanted to try to find a reason to be mad and dunk on them for whatever reason. I'm like, man, like be critical of them when you want, but like there's nothing here to really get upset about for anything. Like I think it's just people want to be mad.
Well, yeah, I know, Richard, you are very much opposed to the Super League, and I know the people who are presenting it are already rich, but like in terms of like the lower league teams, like Sporting, and then like some of the other teams that aren't like Premier League elite level, that's why I guess they push for something like that, because at the moment it's just always going to be the same model. The Premier League makes so much money on its own with TV deals and stuff.
Yeah,
Portuguese TV deal, for example, the one in England only started, I think, in January or maybe like December. So
they just had a new one in Canada, apparently, like mid-season. Apparently, a new provider's doing the Portuguese language in Canada.
It's so poorly planned. They don't even like a season's like.
There wasn't even an announcement, by the way. You know how I found out? Sergio from the Benfica podcast posted on Twitter today that Correio de Manhã TV Canada was carrying the Portuguese language game.
And he found that out from a newspaper.
He found that out. Yeah, he didn't find that out. He found that out in a newspaper. Show of hands. Who still reads a newspaper in 2024?
Well, Sergio does.
Sergio, shout out to Sergio. I want to give him a huge shout out. Clip this if you want. Like I gotta tell my dad that I'm like, yo, we can get the games now on TV because Correio de Manhã is gonna have the games. Get rid of one of the channels you don't want. Get
you have CMTV Canada?
They have a CMTV Canada. That's who's
Bro,
getting the
we
game.
are robbed not having CMTV USA. What the
Bro,
fuck?
I'll send you the tweet after the show that Sergio posted it. I'm like, CMT. I knew we had CMTV Canada because it was like a choice for like what my parents have for their package. You could pick like 4 Portuguese channels for like so much a month, and you get any 4 of like the 7 channels. So they pick like RTP, which is a given. TVI, I think. I think there was like Seek Noticias is one you could choose. Benfica TV is one that they got, but my dad's like, I don't want to pay for it, but like I got to get it for at least a game every other week. And there was a couple others, but CMTV Canada was one. I think Alvalade TV was another one. But yeah,
CMTV, there's nothing on there.
CMTV has there's nothing on CMTV, but now they got all the Portuguese games. So it's like, yo, you gotta change one of your fucking channels, boss. You gotta change one of those. They're gonna be having hella games. But yeah, apparently they have all the Portuguese language broadcasts. No Goal TV does it in English. But yeah,
and Triller used to be Fight TV does it in the UK now. So
yes, I remember you saying that. I'm like, Fight TV of all outlets. I think that's about it for you. Oh, the Moat. That's it. They want to close the Moat. Allegedly, that's good. So allegedly they're closing
there we go.
You have 7 tabs. Oh, you do have it up. So yeah, they're allegedly planning
add 5,000. It'll add 5,000 seats of capacity.
And they're not. So there was a report from Rumor Sport thing. We'll give them the credit for the initial tweet. I'm not going to report it. It was between anywhere from lowering the pitch 60 centimeters to a full like 1.5 meters or something stupid.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. And
so they're basically going to lower the pitch to the level where the bottom of the moat is.
If they go the full like 1.5 meters, pretty much, I think.
Because like if you just like you have to like keep the slope. You can't just like fill in the moat and then put seats because then it'll be like that.
Yeah.
You know, they gotta like keep the angle consistent.
Yeah, so that's
you have to like
the thing,
keep digging deeper in the middle.
Yeah, it's like how, and apparently they're like it's gonna happen regardless in the off season.
Yeah, off season.
That's what I saw from Rumor Sport thing. Was it was supposed to be in the off? They were looking to start that this off season.
I will say, records do not give a time or like a time frame for it. It's just that it's an idea, like preparing to do it. But
I wonder how much something like that would cost.
It's not going to be easy because
15 million euros.
Because you got to dig out that whole moat, and there's probably the irrigation under there too, right? Like for
there's all sorts of shit.
There's so much under, like in that slab, in that what is essentially a concrete slab with dirt and other stuff in it. Like that's a lot. Like now, depending on how deep they're actually going to lower that, is it going to be the 60 centimeters? Is it going to be like at or around like basically where the bottom of the pit is? Like because that's a lot. If it's only like a 60 centimeters or whatever, then it's I could see them easily doing that, but we'll see. It's a lot. Like it's not going to be cheap because there's a lot there underneath the pitch that you don't see. Sporting, I think they are allowed to access some FIFA funds.
Also, that's probably why this is
happening. That's partly why this is happening because they figure they need to do. Like they've been doing updates regardless of them like getting World Cup games.
Well, that's what happens when your stadium's 20 years old. You need to start.
You need updates. You need to do stuff, right? Like Benfica's been doing it for time, right? Like it's just part. They've been updating the same regardless of the World Cup.
That's like roughly the time frame where I start to notice. I'm like, this place is kind of getting shitty. Like 20 years is like when a stadium starts to get kind of shittier.
Yeah, stadiums, arenas, all sorts. I think them getting the World Cup games. Just gives them more of an excuse to try to push forward with other stuff, and it makes sense because it's stuff that needs to be done.
Yeah,
and I do think they'll probably be able to access some outside funds for that because it's a World Cup. So I imagine they'll be allowed to get some sort of outside help for that, for these types of projects moving forward up until that time frame.
I will give the current administration credit because they've done really well with the renovation of the chairs, and
it feels like our stadium finally. It feels like Sporting Stadium.
I think it might have been Kevin or someone else tweeted like the before and after of the seats, and then to now, and it is just looks so much better.
I know Chris is heartbroken because they don't have the tiles anymore. They don't have your tiles, buddy. I'm sorry.
At least they still have the green and white ones.
Yeah.
For now.
But they've done really well with like making it a good personalized stadium, because although it was obviously our stadium, it didn't feel like Sporting Stadium.
No,
There was random colors, didn't really make sense, but now it's like I think it's really good. The only thing that is missing is the atmosphere, and obviously that's a whole different conversation we get into. But also,
yeah,
I don't know if adding more seats is the correct move, because we're already failing. I don't think we sold out a stadium in what?
single game. not in a
Today's
while.
attendance
6 years?
not good.
What was today's attendance? I shuddered.
28,000, wasn't it?
That's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 22,000.
I think it was 28,000. But yeah, we've
My
not sold out.
my source for attendance did not do his tweet that he usually does, saying the
Is it just
attendance.
Is your source just Pedro Varela by chance?
Yeah.
Shout out to McGother Leal. I can always rely on him for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to McGother from Sporting 160, because I didn't see that tweet either. I'm like, it's got to be the same source that I use.
He always
But
tweets
yeah,
the attendance.
yeah.
He's always
I
got
don't know if adding seats is the move. I just don't know. But I guess depends.
Sometimes three Gerações tweets it as well.
True. Yeah, Three Generations does put it out sometimes. Usually one of the Sporting accounts puts it out, but I didn't see it at all.
I don't know if the main account, the main Sporting account, might have tweeted it. I want to say
29,393.
29, so just over 29. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's better than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
For a game that was already done and is also on a Thursday at 8 p.m., you can sort of forgive it. So
I actually saw a thing that they made the tickets cheaper than they normally are for Europa League.
Yeah.
Like I was seeing tickets for like 15 euros.
That's pretty good.
Which is definitely like a low price. And I saw someone comment like lowering the price trying to get a good house. Didn't really work that well.
It worked to like a very little extent. Maybe that's their ploy down the line too. Is if they add all the seats, they can lower the prices down. It looks better for them, right? Like who knows? I don't know. It's certainly a move.
Hopefully,
it's a choice. Like it's certainly a move, but like,
or because the seats are close to the pitch, they charge more for them.
They might those ones might be like normally like a little bit above market value, but then everything else might be market value or cheap.
If this was in America, they'd be installing some like insane like bottle service. VIP.
Oh, it'd be like a freaking
like a club, pitch side club or something.
Yeah, like they have that at like TFC gate.
They do. They love
like pitch side seats.
That's like the new thing. Like the suites used to always be like in the middle. They still like I was saying.
Oh, there's still a ton. There's still a ton.
But like now the new thing is like the pitch side. Seat.
Yeah.
Like the Las Vegas one. Like I think all the suites are along the side.
Vegas. I know LA's.
LA's got pitch
NFL
side
stadium.
seats
There's like a
now,
bajillion suites, literally all at like field.
Imagine if they did that at Alvalade.
Oh, there'd be a riot. I think if the Ultras were still a thing, they'd go ballistic. They'd hate that shit. Can you imagine you're going there with your champagne and stuff, all of a sudden from some jabroni from Jubilee circles a fucking flare over your head, just goes ballistic. You're there in a nice suit. The guy behind you, like 7 rows up, just shirtless with a chest tattoo, just screaming obscenities.
Speaking of you,
kind of want that now. Actually, kind of want to just rinse the chaos.
I do believe that Mustafa is starting his 6-year prison sentence today.
Is it officially today?
Last week,
Macaco going to be cellmates or what?
I have no idea, but I think it's for
if they end up as cellmates, I need to see.
Yeah,
I need that.
It's for a burglary or a series of burglaries.
Yeah,
handed himself into police. Probably will get less time, but
I need him and Macaco and Madureira to be cellmates. We need that odd couple sitcom. we need the cell footage from that.
But yeah, there is 2 more other they're not like big talking points, but I thought they were interesting. Former podcast guest and former Sporting president Bruno Carvalho with this nice little tidbit, which I think is spot on, and I'll do the translate. So obviously the news with what's it called? Boaventura being convicted of bribing Maritimo. Was it Maritimo players?
Rio Ave.
Right? Rio Ave guys, yeah.
Rio Ave players, and they decided that Benfica wasn't involved. But when there's an attack on Sporting's academy, and
we're involved.
Bruno de Carvalho is involved.
He's involved.
So
someone's involved.
Luis Felipe Vieira wasn't involved. Rui Costa wasn't involved, who was the vice president at the time.
No.
But Benfica is never involved, which I thought
It's interesting. It's
That's a man
interesting.
who just took initiative. He's like, I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it, we ball. We're gonna move, and we'll just see what happens later.
Yeah, a guy who had no connections to the club apart from being involved in player sales and player transfers and loans, and so I had no connection to the club.
He was just
whatsoever.
facilitating. He's a mediator. He was facilitating stuff.
Yeah, he just had an idea and he ran with it. So
Yeah.
Oh,
he did what he respect the hustle, I guess.
But also, it was interesting because I think this is the first time that Bruno Di has talked about anything football related in a
couple years.
In a while, yeah.
He did a big spree where he went on a lot of podcasts, including ours. But then he's just, he's enjoying his DJ life. He's
just doing his thing. Like, good for him.
Yeah, as long as he's doing all right, if he's happy with life, then yeah, that's pretty much it. I think there was one more thing, if I could find it, that I wanted to mention. Oh, okay, no, I've lost it. So couldn't have been that important, I suppose.
This was going to be the most important part of the whole show, and you fucked it. How do you feel? I have no clue what it was. I don't know what you were bringing up.
I can't find it either, so I guess it really wasn't that important. Oh, it was just to João Neves, obviously losing. Thoughts and prayers out to you, and tough thing at any age, but let alone like an 18, 19-year-old. And it was like, rivalry aside, today he did cry at the end, which I thought was was heartbreaking.
Appropriate, but like
to still play a full 90 minutes and do that is an incredible testament to his character. But yeah, wish him the well, rivalries aside and everything like that. But yeah, and Antonio Silva, I believe he's losing his either his granddad or his grandma. Same for him as well. Condolences and thoughts and prayers. But unfortunately, on that somber note, I do believe Chris, do you have any modality results?
Handball won again, 18-0, I think now.
Correct, not.
The ladies lost or drew again. That they could pretty much kiss the title goodbye, I think.
Yeah, I think
the thing is like Braga's kind of been shitty too, so they might still finish in second. Handball with a historic win yesterday, to be quite honest. They beat last season's European League champion. So basically the competition that they're currently playing in for Europe, which is the equivalent to the Europa League. They beat last year's Europa League or European League, which is the Europa League equivalent, champs on the road by 1 goal after being down 6. So they're now first in their group, looking to make the quarterfinals. So handball is looking pretty good. Futsal.
Didn't we beat Benfica this week?
Yes, smoked them 9-3.
So that game they wanted to replay, then is it still on or what's going on?
Yeah.
just checking in on.
I haven't heard about that in a minute, actually.
I think it's just kind of gone away now. I think after the game this week, and everyone's like, you know what, never mind. I think especially after the game this week, everyone's kind of dropped it. It was like, fair enough.
And honestly,
I wasn't sure about that.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Although, like, we had 2 games, it wasn't really an eventful week of football compared to last week. But next week, the derby against Benfica, of course, is going to be a very big.
Our league game is on Sunday.
Lovely. Double check that.
Sunday
8:30.
Yeah, the draw.
I can watch it then. If it was Monday, I wasn't really going to be able to see much of that.
Yeah, and we'll have reactions to the Europa League draw next Thursday as well. Of course, the game against Benfica and the one against Rio Ave. And of course, any other news that comes during the week. Maybe a St. Just injury again. Who knows? Knock on wood, hopefully not.
Knock it off.
But before that, you make sure you can follow Richard there. Give a shout out to Danny. They can follow him there. Of course, you can follow Chris there as well. You can follow myself down there. But most importantly, make sure you follow all things on all social media platforms. Everything on podcast platforms as well. You'll be able to find us. Hope you guys have a good evening and the rest of your week. We'll see you next Thursday. Peace.